Rolling along this session, Senator, a lot of activity on the floor of the Missouri Senate, especially this week, and a lot of the measures we're seeing receiving their first round or preliminary approval.
Yes, certainly, Dean. It's quite a bit different even than what people told me it might be like when I was elected and come down here. A lot of work for the citizens in Missouri and different specters of our state. We worked on several bills this week in the perfection process and spent a lot of time. Last night we were fairly late working on legislation, and all of it providing good things, I think, for citizens. Senate Bill 94 was one of the bills that we discussed. This is the Show Me Act, is what it's called, and it's a tax credit for people that want to produce motion pictures in the state of Missouri. And it was a tax credit that was around for quite a period of time, but that tax incentive or tax credit sunsetted in 2013. We've had some financial rough times, a lot of different reasons, but it's not been brought back up or made it this far in the process. And I believe there's a chance this year we may restart those tax credits. There's been a little bit of change to the initial language, but at the same time, it allows Missouri to be back in the mix maybe for motion pictures to be produced in our state. So that was one of the bills. Senate Bill 75. Listeners have heard me discuss this before. It is a bill that I filed, and it deals with the PSRS peers system, which are public school teacher retirement system. And the bill focuses on ways to get retired teachers back to helping possibly in the classroom or in non-classroom positions within a school. And that bill was perfected on Wednesday as well. And I hope that we can third read that at the beginning of next week. Everything that happened, the bill was positive. Senate Bill 20 deals with MoDOT and the Emperor's retirement system. Their board of trustees at this point in time, there's not a real good scheduled change of when new members come on and new members come off. So this developed a schedule so that somebody wouldn't wake up one day and all of a sudden half the board or 3/4 of the board was gone. It put people on a schedule, and it's not done yet. It's not made it to the end. I support this wholeheartedly, and as a person on the Mosher's board, I understand that because there was potential this year for the Missouri State Employees Retirement System Board to lose 5 of their trustees at one time. So that's not good for that institutional knowledge to be gone. So I supported that. Senate Bill 13 dealt with financial institutions, and it had several different facets to that bill. It enhances the Division of Finance, which means kind of upgrade, update, try to make the process for those financial institutions working with state government to be more efficient, hopefully meet the needs of the constituents better that they work with, give the division authority to issue useful official guidance to the industry. So it helped them be able to streamline rule writing, help with bringing change to oversight of financial institutions, and we hope positive change. It did increase consumer licensing fee to some extent, but those fees will be reinvested with inside the department to be able to update stuff. So hopefully when somebody needs service from that division of finance, they can receive some correspondence, they can receive something back in a quicker method, and hopefully that helps. It also got rid of some obsolete portions of banking and different codes and clarified some statutes. So there was all kinds of language, cleanup language, somebody might have called it in that one.
Some of these bills, again, a lot of them on the schedule this week, some of those have some real meaning to you.
Yes, 2 of the bills that we perfected deals with PTSD and mental health support. Senate Bill 24 creates the Missouri First Responder Mental Health Initiative Act. And yes, for personal reasons, both my family as well as past students that I have to deal with PTSD and all the negative impacts with that. That's something that I have a passion for, trying to make a change. So I would say that I perk up. I want to tell the listeners, I try to pay attention to everything going on, but whenever this issue comes up, I really hone in on what's being done. So this bill recognizes that PTSD is a problem in first responders, as well as other, we think about it in the military, and that's my personal experience around it, but it affects anybody that's put in emergency situations and have to deal with tragic situations. They can have trouble with it, and our first responders are certainly part of that group. So this bill, Senate Bill 24, would establish the right to receive treatment without repercussions from the employer. Part of the stigma around it, nobody wants to say we're having any trouble. And if we do, then people start questioning, well, should they really be serving us? So this hopefully gets it to where people get served and try to be helped that are having trouble with these issues without having to worry about their job right up front. Maybe they can get some help some earlier before it becomes a true crisis. So I was really supportive of that part of it. All treatment sessions will be kept confidential and not shared with the employer. That's another part that is important. I hope people understand the value in that statement. No disciplinary measures can be taken against the first responder for withholding records. Mental health records cannot be held against the employee during disciplinary proceedings. The right to seek treatment is not based on geography, based on the employer or insurance company, so that an employee would have the right to seek this treatment no matter what. No barriers put up in front. The right of first responders to receive expanded family and medical leave under FMLA, and sets up a grant program for first responders to be able to access these funds. And last year, during the legislative cycle, we did pass a fund that was made available for first responders. Their cancer, in certain cases, they have cancers that seem to affect them more because of their service that they've done. So it will expand the use of this fund to help people with PTSD as well. And hopefully we can fund that appropriately, Dean, without a doubt. Another one of those bills, Dean, is Senate Bill 119. And this bill targets PTSD as allowing that to be a disease that's covered for workman's comp when diagnosed in first responders. So I certainly thought that was an important thing to do. I know one person has talked to me about some problems they have with PTSD from their time working as a first responder. And then the last one, it jumps off of PTSD and goes over to counselors, mental health professionals. As many listeners know, there's all kinds of rules and regulation. Each state is different, and can you practice in this state? Can you not practice in this state? What Senate Bill 70 will do, and I do believe it's overall simple. It will allow the state of Missouri to join into a compact, an agreement with several other states. And everybody's going to have a basic set of standards. And if you're part of this compact and you, a provider, are part of that compact, you reach that standard, then you could practice in Missouri and in Iowa. And as you well know, where I represent, Missouri, Iowa, there's a little big line that separates them. Nebraska, Kansas are all neighboring. So entering into these compacts, I hope, will allow somebody that's in Iowa, if we need more mental health somewhere in the northern part of my district, allow that person to come down and provide treatment and not be not allowed to come down just because they're licensed in Iowa. So this compact, I supported it. And Senator Fitzwater, when he was a House member, he did a lot of work on things like this, and it continues to be a real focus, and I'm glad to partner with him for that.